The 1950s, to meet Miss Martindale, who's a living expert on 50s elegance. Hello, Miss Martindale. Thank you for inviting me. What do you think?
I think you look absolutely lovely. Do come and sit down.
This really does feel like a step back in time. What was it that made you want to live in the past?
Well, a desire to leave the wasteland of the modern world. Although I should say that we very definitely don't consider it as going back in time in the sense that you mean it, but only going back to where we feel a wrong turning was taken, to the collapse of civilization in the 1960s, the last thread of civilization.
Have you always lived in the 50s?
Since I've left the modern world, I've lived as a Victorian, wearing genuine Victorian corsets and Victorian hats and shawls and so on, although, of course, we had to make our own dresses or have them made. And we had different periods. I liked the 1840s, one of the girls wore crinolines, and the housekeeper liked the more severe 1870s look, and the maid was from the 1920s, in fact. So we covered quite a range, and we actually opened a couture business using antiques lace and genuine Victorian patterns, which are available now. And when we decided to change our physical location, because we had gone there to be very far from the modern world, and we decided then to live in our clothes and in all the things surrounding us in the era of the 30s, 40s and 50s.
Now, even your business is linked to that era.
Yes, that's right. Well, we happened to know that it was through the fact that we wear stockings and suspenders all the time. We knew that it was impossible to get fully fashioned themed stockings that are manufactured in the present day, since Aristoc firm stopped making stockings stopped making fully seamed fashion stockings about 5 years ago. And we approached a manufacturer who has renovated 1950s machinery and is producing fully fashioned stockings, both with point heels and Cuban heels, that are authentic replicas of 1950s stockings. And we've launched those stockings under the New Lady label. And we have on here our little phrase, "Femininity is a thing of the future."
Why do you think that today's women would want original 50s stockings?
Well, I think that it isn't only ourselves who see that there's almost an entire death of femininity in everyday life. I think men in particular are very conscious of this, and a lot of our customers for stockings are men who are buying them for their wives to encourage and incite an interest in femininity. And I think that there is an understanding, both by women once they start wearing them and by husbands, that stockings and suspenders are more feminine, they are more sensuous. The dress, the look is more elegant, but the whole atmosphere of them creates a sort of innocent sensuousness, which is so much more subtly thrilling than the blatant, crude things of the world that you live in.
Miss Martindale, thank you ever so much for inviting us back into the 1950s.